Hi, Roll Malver here again. Thank you for joining. Today, I'm going to do the first wave in the Twisted Cryptids Kickstarter campaign. In this case, my tier was the Ultimate Collector's Edition. It's kind of interesting that they've actually got the box marked this time, which means they had a lot of this stuff pre-packaged for them, which is a nice touch. Makes it easier to get stuff shipped out, I would think, rather than have to go and pack everything up. It's already done. Set that down. And obviously this is going to include a few boxes here. Set our stuff off to the side. So now let's just get the foam out of the way. Make that easy to grab stuff like a nostalgic wilderness board. And I'll open this stuff up here after I get it out and have a little more room to work. The game itself. KSC box with the lenticular box. There we go. And of course, being the Kickstarter edition, in this case, instead of just being the base game, it is the base game with the first expansion, Ness is More. If you are buying that retail, you'll have to get the Ness is More expansion separate. The Playmat bundle box, and again, I'll open this stuff all up here in a moment. Here's our Crypted Culture box, again with the ventricular art. And a vinyl picture, or a vinyl figure set. And plenty of sleeves, which we'll just set off to the side. Interesting that those are mostly clear. The sleeves for their games in the past have been colored in some way, shape, or form. Sometimes just being colored with the color of the backs of the cards. There's our first 10 figures with the promo cards, and all those should be in the box, but we're going to open up anyways. Because where's the fun in pulling this out of the case if we don't at least look at the pieces inside? I will, of course, be getting stuff in wave 2 because I did add on the big Twisted box. I did add on Banner Quest for Here to Slay. I added on the wooden tokens. Ooh. Interesting. I wouldn't expect all those to be bundled together, but we'll look at those here in a minute. Did that a little differently this time. But we'll pull out a few of these. And these do feel more size-wise comparable to the blind boxes they've been doing. Be careful there. And I'm not going to pull all of these out, but just enough to kind of get an idea. Peek at these, although these will probably end up in my promo card binder. I have one for top loader, so these can be kept flat. Lenticular, that's the word I messed up earlier. And of course, all 10 of these are all the playable figures for the sets here. Got our base game. Ness is more. Obviously with the Yeti here. Ness is more. We've got the Yeti or Not expansion with the figures in here as well. Yeti or Not, of course, coming in the wave 2 because that was not quite done yet. Hell, didn't even have a name yet for certain until the campaign. So let's open that guy up. I see a slight crunch here. So hopefully this is just a box for it as opposed to the board. Good. That explains why that would be crunched, because there's not a lot of support there for the board. But let's open this guy up. Ooh, interesting. Little space in there so that those points stay nice and flat as opposed to being bent right through them. I like that. It's kind of, for me, that's unique. I haven't seen somebody do that yet. Alright, but let's open up the base game itself, or the Kickstarter version of the base game anyways. Set these up here. And I do want to be somewhat careful here. I'm not looking to cut up this nice looking box. Line that up. That's interesting, but it has to do with obviously being the lenticular. You can presumably hear my thumb scratching on there. Again, there's our 6 initial, the 4 base, and the 2 Ness's more characters. Our rule book, and we won't go over all the rules here. This is more just to show what comes in. And then our board does the same thing. And obviously the nostalgia board is to replace this. Ooh, okay, so let's try to break this up a little bit. And those meeples are bigger than I was expecting. I figured they would be more in line with the regular ones, which I suppose aren't too much bigger. But these are for our mini expansions that came as stretch goals. Obviously, you can only get those through the Kickstarter edition, but you can get print and play versions off of the website. And I'm not going to go through and sleeve all this stuff on camera. I will sleeve at some point the lenticular versions of the cards. Let's see here. There we go. Just to compare here. So the art is the same except this guy. Nope, can't make the thumb noise, but you can definitely feel the difference. Oh, there we go. In fact, you can even see it is a little bit thicker. Well, you might not be able to tell on camera. It's very, very small difference, but in person it seems noticeable. It's about the thickness of 2 cards. We'll get those back in. And again, I like having the small wooden tokens as opposed to just a generic chipboard. our hidden traits cards. And I'll show you these in comparison to, standard card size. So slightly wider than a standard card that way, and obviously shorter. If I do this. So they didn't just take a card and cut it in half, which would have been interesting size-wise, because there wouldn't have been that big of a difference. Hell, it might have even been easier for them to do that, who knows. But blank ones, obviously. I have to figure out where all these fit. Although that will be temporary anyway, since like I said, I will be getting the Twisted, or the big Twisted box. So everything that goes in here and everything that doesn't, game-wise, should fit. Where is, there we go. Just gonna go through a few of the cards here. And obviously, since I've yet to play this, I can't give you specifics on the pros and cons or everything. Obviously, as far as positives, negatives, how these affect the different bits in their research and traps and people. And these would be cards for our mini expansions. I hope we don't see a bunch of these on eBay for massive amounts, but yeah, we both know that's not going to happen like that. And everybody and their sister knows that some people bought these just to sell them for higher prices on eBay, which is sad. Interesting. Little dividers to separate stuff. Semi-transparent. I do like the design though. I think I'm going to hold on to this for now. And the rest of our wooden tokens to go with meeples here. And of course, the ones I'll be getting with the Wave 2 stuff for the add-ons will be 3D versions of a lot of the symbols here. But let's go ahead and put these back in here for now. We'll open up another box, take a look. I will figure out at some point how best to get this stuff in here. Ooh, wonder what's supposed to go there. I'll give them credit though, because they're definitely trying to make everything fit as nicely as possible, making spaces for stuff. And I can't fault them for not making the original box big enough for all the expansions, as much as I like when they do that, simply because not everybody is going to get all the expansions. Some people will get the game, maybe not like it, and want to add more to it. So we'll start with him. Toss that there, go up to Crypted Culture for the second expansion. It is always something I find interesting with some games, especially on Kickstarter. And it's not a complaint, just a an observation is how often when a game is released, they've already got an expansion in the campaign. In this case, 2 full expansions. One came in the box, one separate, and then one they were working on. Now some of that is likely, another slide off here, it's likely due to them having more ideas than will work in the base game. So some of those ideas break off into expansions. Obviously sometimes that's just stuff that makes a stretch goal. You know, they can't make the ideas come right off the bat, but if they get enough, they can. And again, both lenticular and regular cards in here. Look at that. Our wooden tokens. And again, I'm not going to open all this stuff up here. Just enough to kind of get a nice look at it. More of the same dividers. And then here's where we start getting into our different stuff. Our culls. It is chipboard, but that's okay because it's relatively thick. It's about the same thickness as a game board would be. So that's not bad. As long as you're not the kind of person who's abusive to your games, it should last. And we won't go through all the cards here, but obviously they've got both set up here, spots for our tokens, dividers to separate the cards. Just get this stuff back in here. And I am not quite going back in there perfectly, but it's all temporary anyway, so I'm not too concerned. Get this guy on. And last but not least, the Playmat bundle box. And this one obviously not lenticular any more than the vinyl box set was, but here are all of our vinyl, they're not vinyl, but our standees, acrylic standees, there we go. I do like that they've got the individual wraps here for all of these, because then you can store them nice like that without taking up too much room. That is very nice. But I'm going to open up a couple of these just to kind of look at them. Obviously for our cards, the market or whatever it is. Roll that guy back up. This is a nice touch, and I hope this is something they continue to do for their playmats, because if they're not going to do big storage boxes, doing something small like this with these wraps will help you keep them tight and organized. Obviously, this is not for everyone, as I can't guarantee that these won't kind of develop a curl. And yeah, I'm rolling her back up. Just trying to get them unrolled enough to show what they look like before I put them back. And we'll just take the first one here. Yeah, like I said, it'll curl up a little bit, but since it's curling that way, imagine once you start playing on them, they'll hold that for at least long enough to play. Just get you rolled back up here. So there we have our first wave for the Kickstarter edition of Twisted Cryptids. Your mileage may vary, and everything you get may not be the same as mine, because obviously there are different levels for the tiers. I decided to go all in, because why the hell not? I like games, I like their games. It's never a bad idea to have collectibles. Why the hell not? Obviously, I didn't roll this up quite as tight. Not stressing because, well, I can always roll it up tighter later. I'm just trying to get her put away. I'm not trying to do anything super fancy here. So there we have it. Oops. Of course, it would help if I put that back in, wouldn't it? Playmats and acrylics. Expansions. And 4 sleeve packs. I will get 1 more sleeve pack with the second wave. There we go, zoom that way. Or not, as it messes with my camera because of the light. But there you go. I will post a video for wave 2 once that comes in later this year. Have a great day. Thank you for watching, and happy gaming.